So what I said before is I'm going to start to thread 4, 3, 2, 1 is my sequence all the way across. So in order for me to kind of keep it easier to see, instead of having all these heddles, just pulling one out each time from all this big group of heddles, I push all of the heddles over to one side and I just pull out one grouping. So I'm going to pull out 4 heddles from shaft number 4. I'm going to pull out 4 heddles from shaft number 3, 4 from shaft number 2, and 4 from shaft number 1. And that's going to be kind of the grouping that I'm going to do. And I know if I say I'm threading all these heddles and I wind up with like one odd one left and I've got my group, it might give me an indication that I might have threaded something wrong because I've got this extra heddle here that should have been threaded. So it kind of helps you see better and organize better the little groups, because you're going to be grouping the threads together in small groups to make them easier to tie on the back of the loom. So what I do is I reach through to the front where the reed is, and it's very important that you get the right yarn warp ends in the sequence that they're coming out of the back of the reed. So as you can see, these 2 warp ends are coming out of the first dent on my right when I'm sitting in the back. So I'm going to start here, and I'm going to take one of these because they're both in the same dent. It doesn't matter which one I take. I'm just going to take one and I'm going to bring it through here, and remember we wanted to thread it 4, 3, 2, 1 from the back. If I were threading it, if I was sitting in the front of the loom, I'd thread it 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's one end through the first heddle on shaft number 4. Now I'm going to take that other warp end that was in the same dent and just put that one in 3. Next one is the next dent. I'm going to take one of those warp ends, doesn't matter which one, and put it through the first heddle on shaft number 2. And some people use special little hooks and stuff to do this, but I found for me that I just really prefer using my hands. And so here's one end through a heddle on shaft number 1. So that's 4, 3, 2, 1. Now we start all over again. But make sure you're pulling out the very next warp end coming out of the reed, because if you get the sequence messed up, it'll cause an error in your weaving, or it'll cause some crisscross entangling. So I put that next end through 4, 3. This one's going through a heddle on shaft number 2, and this one's going through a heddle on shaft number 1. Okay, again 4, 3, 2, 1. So that's what you need to thread all the way across until you come to the other side. So once I get a grouping, either 12 or maybe 16, usually on the ends, on the sides of the piece, I do a little fewer than all the other groups, because it helps with the it helps keep the tension tight on the selvages or the ends. And then I try to kind of even them up as much as I can. It doesn't have to be perfect, just get them kind of even so that you can tie a little knot in there. And the knot keeps all the groups together, because later on we're going to take all the knots and tie them on to this metal rod back here. So I'm going to just do an overhand knot, one simple knot, and pull it down to close to the end, and that's my first group. Now you want to go through all of the rest of the heddles like that. Again, it's kind of easier to pull out the same number or some grouping that makes sense to you, so it's easier to see what you're doing. And you can either look through the shaft or you can look over the shaft. I usually keep my bench low so that I don't have to reach up too high to get to the heddles. But you need to just go through each warp end and just continue threading the warp 4, 3, 2, 1 from the back of the loom. If you're threading from the front, you're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, but I'm teaching front to back, so I'm sitting behind the loom right now. This is not where I sit to weave. So I'm just going to keep doing that, and I'm going to keep tying these groups off until I have several groups. And after we're done with that, I'm going to do a next video, and we're going to finish tying the warp ends onto the loom. So just continue on, and I'll see you when I'm done. Thanks a lot for watching.